Hello, and welcome to another episode of Career Retrospectives right here in the Super Review Show. I am joined by my two amazing co-hosts, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what up?
Yo,
What up, yo,
Lizards.
yo. Yes, we're talking about, so as the title of this podcast, we're talking about lizards tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lizards from the tropics of South America. No, we're not talking about
thin lizards, JT.
Sorry. Thin lizards. We're talking about thin lizards tonight, clearly. As Mike is showing with his hands how to do a lizard.
I can't do that.
Spock. I
can't do that. I can't. Yeah, it's not.
It's okay. So for this week, next week, and the week after, we kind of gave each other like a little bit of a challenge, if you will. We wanted to. Well, who was it? Was it Mike's or Kyle's idea to do this?
It was all Mike.
Mike, why don't you explain what the idea was so that I don't really mess anything up?
So we all know. I mean, when I say we, I mean the 12 people that watch this channel. No, I'm just kidding. There's one in top.
You're gonna make me the villain tonight, then. Ooh.
Yeah. No, I'm saying. No. Well, for whoever watches this show, we all know we have some dynamic personalities, some fluctuating interests, some come from different places and are in the journey of music. So we all tend to have a kind of a different understanding of what's a 10. So I thought, it'd be a kind of a cool challenge would be to for us to kind of use our best, judgment. And we just lost Kyle. I don't know where Kyle went, but at least he's gone on my screen.
I'm here.
Okay, welcome back, Kyle. So basically I wanted to see if we could like search our musical repertoire and find something that all of us would give the highest score to. It would be kind of fun to create like a trophy. Whoever's album gets the highest rating wins the the influencer trophy, let's call it that, like
the $25 gift card.
Yeah, to Giggles.
Texas Roadhouse, but okay.
Giggles, Texas Roadhouse. Yeah, well, it works perfectly. The Thin Lizard Emporium. But no, so yeah, there you go, trophy. Good job, Kyle. Yeah. So whoever gets that, can kind of keep that trophy. And then what'll be kind of cool is if we just keep it going. Next week we try to like pick that album that gets the highest review score, and then you get the trophy back. You keep it, you currently hold it, whatever. It would be kind of fun to go back and forth in between our normal doing the career discographies and all that whatnot. And yeah, like we could
how dare you insult my stuffy nose in COVID.
yeah, so we could just kind of pass the trophy around, whoever has the current highest rated album, yada yada, blah blah blah. So yeah, there you go.
Well, without further ado, we're going with Mike's pick first tonight of that whole shebang. So what we're going to be doing is, Mike, what album did you decide to pick out for us tonight?
I chose Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak, one of my all-time favorite albums. But I want to go last because I do want to make sure I hear your guys' input before I kind of give mine. So if you wouldn't mind, I kind of would like to hear someone before me go into a very their idea of what was they thought about it, just because it would be kind of cool for me to come in there and gush about it as I love to.
I don't know, man. Do you want to go first, Kyle, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you take it?
All righty.
Oh
no,
JT.
That's a bad sign.
You can smell the stench of awful. Just kidding. What? No. So look, okay. All right. This is gonna sound sad to the people who actually listen to Thin Lizzy a lot more than I do. This is a prime example of, I know the song "The Boys Are Back in Town" and I know the artist, but that's all my exposure was. I would hear them on classic rock radio, the Boys Are Back in Town, and maybe the Jailbreak title track or whatever, maybe one or two other songs here or there. But outside of that song, and that was really it for me of my knowledge of Thin Lizzy. I didn't even know they were from Ireland. That's how little I knew about them. I know, and there's Mike tipping his cap. Oh, top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you, eh, governor.
Hey,
Wait,
gosh,
no,
my laddie.
that's the wrong country. But you get it.
Yeah, they're somewhere over in Europe. Whatever.
Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
English, British. What's the difference?
We
English,
just lost
Irish.
7 viewers of that. Well, what'd you do, Kyle? What'd you do?
No. But to all of our UK and Irish listeners, I do. There are some out there. We love you. You're great.
Absolutely, we love you. Absolutely.
This is dedicated for you tonight.
Yeah, building up.
But listen, I've never had listened to a Thin Lizzy album. Period. And this was the album with The Boys Are Back in Town. I was like, all right. So going into it, I'm like, all right. Never listened to a full Thin Lizzy album before. Really curious. I mean, I know I like the song The Boys Are Back in Town. I know that they were a big influence on John Bon Jovi, like all this other small time stuff. I have to tell you, from the start of this, I actually thought I was not going to like this. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. I really, truly did. And I mean, it was like, it's almost like if you're looking for an album nowadays where you're listening for like a classic rock vibe or a classic rock, like a 70s vibe, or not quite a hard rock vibe necessarily, not like 70s, like super hard rock like Led Zeppelin or whatever, or Aerosmith to an extent, but like this is like a good example of 70s hard rock, and I really do like it quite a bit. There are some, we'll get into our track listing when we get into it for each of us, but I have to say I was thoroughly entertained. Mike, bravo. You did great. I am so proud of you. And there was much rejoicing, as they say, from Monty Python. Hey. But no, I there was from some of the lesser known tracks, like the title track, Jailbreak. Obviously, I'm a title track guy, so I'm like, oh yes, title tracks are my thing. So
yeah.
But that aside from that, and aside from The Boys Are Back in Town, this is a very solid album overall, and I'm very, very happy I listened to it, truthfully. I was like, oh, this is actually something I could really get more into. I could delve more into their other stuff, delve more into their catalog. And I just want to point out to whoever's, for those of you who don't know by now, we do the show live. The album cover is so badass. It's ridiculously awesome. It's like prime 70s, like comic booky, but it's so cool. I would buy this album on vinyl to have this in my collection. That's how much I liked it. And the two gentlemen have seen my vinyl collection. It is very extensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But going into it, I was like, all right, whatever. Let me give this a shot. It's kind of like what we did with Scorpions Rock Believe. I'm like, all right, Scorpions are, they're good, whatever. I like them for what they were, a couple of songs, and I really liked that album. This is the same thing with that. I was like, all right, I knew one or two songs here. Let's give this a shot. And I was thoroughly entertained. Very proud of myself.
Nice.
I wonder if Kyle has something very similar to say with his Thin Lizard commenting.
Yeah, so I'm actually in the same boat as JT, where I went into it completely. Well, not completely. This is the first full album by Thin Lizzy I listened to. I knew the hits: Jailbreak, Boys Are Back in Town, their version of Whiskey in the Jar.
Right.
The big things. Never before did I listen to the whole album. I loved it. I'll get into more specifics on exact tracks and things when we get to that and the ratings and everything. But would I say it's a absolutely perfect record? No, and I'll get into that more later. But I loved this. Great pick, Mike.
Hey, yes.
Going into it, I wasn't knowing how I was going to feel going into it. I'm going to be honest. I've always really liked the hits, but a lot of times when there's artists like that, where their hits kind of outweigh the rest of their catalog, I feel like Thin Lizzy is one of those artists that their hits were so big and then the rest of it kind of fell by the wayside. So I kind of, a lot of times that's a little, not so much like a red flag, just kind of I don't know how I'm going to feel about this going in. Really blew away my expectations. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Even had some, like JT said, some really good hard rock record, but also had elements of punk rock in there that I enjoyed quite a bit. A lot of things like you could tell were going on with like the Ramones around the same time. Loved that. Some of the best use of the dual guitar
Yeah.
I've heard. It's so good. But yeah, so excellent pick, Mike. I absolutely love this record.
Awesome. Glad to hear it.
And to think by his thumbnail being a thin lizard.
Yeah, thin lizard.
I thought you were gonna hate it for some reason.
He was throwing us for a loop.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, but now we're on there. For those who are listening to us, but we're on the Wikipedia page now. Let's go down to their track listing. Do you want me to go first with my standout tracks or no? We'll just keep going in that order? Or?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So for obvious big standout for me is The Boys Are Back in Town. It's a staple on classic rock radio to this day. It is probably the most recognizable song, I would say. Just out of someone who like just knows the general consensus of Thin Lizzy, this is probably like their most well-known song. But outside of that, I said the first half of the album is actually very strong. The first, side one, I would say personally for me, and it opens up with Jailbreak. You're like, all right. The moment I heard Jailbreak, I was like, all right. I can actually like get into this a little bit more than I thought I could. I could like, I just like, here's one step in the pool and then I can go skinny dipping. There we go. So perfect. Awesome. I can't believe I said that on air, but I don't care. But it was a nonstop like joyride for me, truthfully, with the way that the heart, to me, one of the best decades of music ever is not just the 80s, but it's the 70s as well. And this almost, to me, because again, first time listening to it, it almost felt like an underrated gem to an extent. Of like, yeah, it has The Boys Are Back in Town, but look what else is on it. There's Jailbreak, there's the Cowboy song, there's Running Back, there's Angel from the Coast. There was so many other great songs that I would go back to like that. I would go back to in a heartbeat and visit a lot of these other songs outside of Jailbreak and The Boys Are Back in Town as well. The only I agree with Kyle to a very good point. It's not a perfect album, like, you know, I would say that, but I mean, we'll get the ratings when we're done. But I will say the album does end kind of suddenly for me a little bit. After Emerald, I'm like, oh, that's it. I literally was just listening to it before and I was like, that's it. I thought there'd be like more. I was craving more, which is always a good sign for me. Like when I'm actually craving more, when I'm craving more music in general, like by an artist, like I want to go. That's what led me to dive into a discography of many different artists as well. Sorry, Mike.
No, I actually look forward to your discography and Kyle's. I hate that song. So like, I mean, as much as I don't want Kyle to hate a song on here, you know, sometimes it's like it's a necessary evil, you know. So you know, it is what it is, man. A discography, I hate that song. They're part of life. Embrace them, you know.
Yes, damn right. It's just how it is.
The more you know.
I can't believe you just brought that up. Anyways, but like outside obviously The Boys Are Back in Town is a standout track for me. Jailbreak is a standout track for me. I really enjoyed Warriors. Like to close out side one, I was like, this is actually a good closer or a good send off to side one. I was very entertained by that. It's hard to find a bad song on here, if I'm being brutally honest, because I was like, it was only, I mean, how long was that whole thing? It was like what?
It's like
36
minutes.
Yeah, pretty of a short album. Like, and I do agree with you that like I did wish for more music, but it's also sometimes when you force that kind of thing, especially when you're pumping out. I mean, you're absolutely pumping out some gems of a song. Pulling out like 12, 15 songs can almost hurt the purity of those tracks.
That's true. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, like I just and no song is too long or too short for me. Like, you know, even Cowboy song was like, all right, you know, it didn't really feel like 5 minutes. It felt like 4:30, 4:20 for me. 4:20. But yeah, it was just like this was a really great album. And honestly, Mike, you know, you just did to me. You're gonna make me listen to more Thin Lizzy now.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
I'm gonna go. This is their 6th album. I'm gonna go 1 through 5 tomorrow morning. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
But yeah, my standout tracks to me: Jailbreak, Boys Are Back in Town. Like I said, for some reason, Warriors. It's hard to pick a favorite track when there's all of the songs are great. So I'm just gonna stick with the two big ones, Jailbreak and Boys Are Back in Town for me personally. Kyle, you hated this. No, I'm just kidding. You love this.
I hate this album. No.
He's like, I hated it.
Yeah. So for me, I actually didn't think this was loaded one way or the other, like front loaded, back loaded. I actually thought it was pretty consistent throughout. Jailbreak, great opener. One thing, it starts with Jailbreak, but it's very consistent throughout the record itself, is it has an attitude to it, just this cool swagger to it, just this nice attitude that's really missing from a lot of music today, especially in the rock genre, unfortunately. The main guitar riff is excellent. Throughout the whole thing, also excellent use of dual guitar, but the best use of it, and one of my favorite uses I've ever heard, is on Angel from the Coast. That entire song is perfect. No critiques to that one at all. That was one of the huge standouts for me. Other standout, of course, The Boys Are Back in Town. It's a timeless classic at this point. Honestly, that one goes. It's an 11. That song. Let's be real. Out of 10, it's an 11.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of the other ones that kind of shocked me a bit. Running Back. Loved that song. Another just straight 10 out of 10. The melodies on this song and the album as a whole, very well done. And what's interesting to me is his vocals. It's not like flawless vocals, but yet he writes the melodies in such a way that they work so well and they're catchy and they sound great, even if you don't have the best, like technically the best, most proficient voice out there. And I love when they do that. One of the only ones that doesn't work on the album for me, vocal melody wise, everything else about it is pretty good. Romeo and the Lonely Girl. I really hate that forced rhyme of Romeo, then rhyming it with Onio.
yeah, that's great. It's a little cringy.
The one like cringe on the entire record, which is for a late 70s rock album, it's pretty damn good. Because this is right around the time where we were getting a lot of cheese and cringe into a lot of rock records. So if you have one tiny example of it, like, I'll give it a pass. The rest of it's great. Great guitar solo in that song. JT, where me and you differ is Warriors. I don't really like this song. I don't hate it, but for me, instrumentally, it's great. Instrumentally, it's a good song. The vocals kind of bored me on this one. They didn't do anything exciting. I do appreciate the song itself instrumentally does stay exciting. It does different things throughout the whole song. And then the only other one that I didn't care for is Emerald. This one, it's not that it was a bad song. It's not that I hated it. So Mike, you don't get it. I hate this song on this record. Damn it. Sorry, but it's my issue with this one is that lyrically and musically, it doesn't do much for me anyway. It's not bad. It's just boring. It's a very mid song. It's, for me, an unfortunate note to end what I thought was a fantastic album on. And to me, I kind of feel a little bit different than you two in terms of the runtime of this. I don't think the runtime is what necessarily left me leaving more. It's the fact that they ended it on Emerald. I think if they ended it with a different track, like if they ended it with Cowboy Song, I think it would have bookended it, making me feel like, yes, I want to hear more. But leaving it on Emerald left me feeling like, oh, that was the end of the album. That was kind of an awesome closing track. If they just kind of swapped placements, I think that it would feel a little more complete. But that's a very small critique. I do also want to point out Fight or Fall. Really, really love this one. It's a very nice slow tempo song. Again, the melodies on this are fantastic. Lyrics are good. Actually reminds me a lot of like an Elvis Costello song. Specifically like one of his songs, like Allison, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. So this one really just hit the mark for me. And Cowboy Song, wow, great job, Mike. I think you showed me this one before in the past. Great job painting a picture, telling a story with the lyrics here. Great song throughout, really takes you on a journey. Overall, not a bad song on this one. Again, Emerald, questionable to end it on that, and kind of bores me. Other than that, though, fantastic album.
Oh, nice.
Mike, why don't you share your thoughts on this album?
I mean, me? This album sucks. Boo, boo, this song. I mean, what cannot be said, which hasn't been said, but this was a staple in the car. My dad played this plus Out of the Blue, some Black Sabbath. This was one of the songs we knew every lyric to. It was just kind of like, it was definitely a nostalgic album for me. But like going back over it as I got older, I loved it because I became familiar with it, but I needed to know why, specifically why I loved it. And I mean, it just samples a lot of different areas of music that you kind of look forward to. It's got some, like Kyle was saying, some cool kind of melodies, that laid back feeling, like that you really want to get from a 70s rock album. You get those blazing guitar solos, some of the most underrated guitar work that I think is ever made it into a rock album. Has never been really mentioned on any of the guitar lists. How these guys really kind of opened the doors for like bands like Iron Maiden and all these other kinds of 80s metal bands that kind of really pioneered the harmonized guitar solos. And it really is a complete album that has like lots of high kind of points to it, lots of just diversity. Another thing I love about this album is, you guys always know, I've always been a fan of change ups, and this album does lots of little change up parts. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, if you want to bring up that track listing, let me go back here. So like Jailbreak, you have that same kind of riff that plays throughout the whole song, but then it kind of hits this when they do the noises, like the sirens and the kind of jailbreak, like the sounds of police cars,
actual breakout part.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they do like a whole different part, a whole like kind of interlude, just to bringing a bunch of different riffing. They come back to it. They just kind of changed it up a lot. So for me, standout tracks, I mean, every song is a standout track, but if I were to say my absolute 11 out of 10, Cowboy Song, one of my top favorite songs of all time. It is the two guitar solos. I like to play a game with people who I know love music. I ask them to pick which guitar solo they like better. And because there's that first guitar solo and then the next one that kind of, they're both different styles, and both the guys, I mean, they were just masters of the play. But I mean, Phil and he wrote, I mean, the guy was a freaking musical, just guru. He just knew what you needed, like what you wanted to hear. But blazing guitar solos in the song were amazing. So so Jailbreak, Cowboy Song, Emerald. I love Emerald, and I feel, of course, Kyle, we gotta be different on this. But Emerald, oh my god, I absolutely freaking love that part in Emerald where it breaks down into that harmonized melody. I don't know if you remember the part I'm talking about, where it's like, I don't even want to like sing it on here, but it's just, it does like a bunch of like real harmonized. The guitar solos are just, I mean, once again, Boys Are Back in Town is kind of like JT and Kyle were saying, like a staple to those songs you hear on the radio, that like if a CD of the greatest rock songs were ever compiled, it is compiled, but if you were to look on a list, you're gonna find it. And I actually predicted Kyle was not going to like this album because the vocals shift between two modes: spoken kind of alongside the melody, but keeping their own melody, and then sung alongside the melody, or of their own melody that fits along with the music. So for example, Fight or Fall has like, he sings through that whole song. But he's kind of doing his own like his voice is the melody and the guitars are kind of like accompanying him. Whereas like you go to like Angel from the Coast and it's kind of like he's talking in a kind of like Kyle was saying, that attitude, Jailbreak and Angel from the Coast are very like spoke sung, I guess you could call it, where it's like you're not superly like belting out melodies and big vocal parts. You're kind of singing alongside them in that kind of interval, in an interval that accompanies the music. Then you have the sing, like Boys Are Back in Town kind of has a little bit of that too. But then Cowboy Song, Fight or Fall, Emerald, they're more sing bass songs where they're not just kind of spoken alongside the music. So I knew like vocals are a big thing. Kyle, vocals can make or break an album for Kyle. Like I know that 100%.
They sure can.
I mean, and it's such a delicate like freaking recipe. It's like, oh, I'm making these cookies, cool, like, all right, but I have like chili powder in it. What? Like, you know what I mean? Like that, you could like throw the whole recipe off if the vocals are wrong. So I was just like, I don't know if Kyle's like, these vocals might be like he was saying, they have attitude, and I wasn't sure if he likes that or if he likes
I love that.
Oh, good. I mean, that was like, then that's like my prediction is like off, but I mean, like I definitely feel like you either take it or leave it. It's funny, I hear a song by Steely Dan, and I always hear the sound of these vocals and I'm like, holy crap, I thought that song was by Steely Dan, but it's it's, or the other way around. It sounds like the guy from Thin Lizzy, but it's the guy from Steely Dan singing I can't remember the specific song, but it when you hear it. It has that same kind of like kind of vibe to it.
Do it again.
I don't know. I've got to go back and look, and then I'll have to I'll edit it in like me randomly saying it, like yeah. But yeah. So my only and it's funny. This is so funny. I mean, it's so funny how Kyle and I are always the opposite.
Oh God.
Angel from the Coast was actually one of those songs when I was a kid. I'd hear Jailbreak, yeah, Jailbreak, yeah, play it again, Jailbreak, cool. And then Angel from the Coast would come on, and then I'd be like, can we skip this one? I want to hear Running Back, because I always love Running Back, and then Romeo and the Lonely Girl is another good one. Warriors, the great song, but it's not one of my favorite. It's I am aligned with you here, Kyle. Like I was always like, cool, but I knew it was coming. Those 4 songs at the end, Boys Are Back in Town, Fight or Fall, Amazing Cowboy Song, and then Emerald to end it out. I was really excited for those versus like Angel from the Coast and Warriors were kind of like still amazing songs. It's just like when you want to hear those bangers that you think are the best, you kind of like get impatient as a kid. Now I listen to it and I appreciate the Warriors song because it has a cool feeling to it. It's very cool, like it almost sounds like you're in a dark alley and his voice is echoing, like messenger, you know what I mean, like. And yeah, it's actually about drug dealers apparently. Like that's kind of what they're about, where you think, oh, Warriors, it's just got to be like something to do with like like Emerald is about like battling with swords, and I knew Kyle wasn't gonna be a huge fan of the swords.
Yeah.
I just knew it. But I mean, this is an absolute masterpiece, an absolute just stunner of an album from a band who is a pioneer of the harmonized guitars and of just some of that and the attitude. And I mean, just the lead singer, he passed away in like mid 80s, 85, 86, and really left a gaping hole in kind of the the kind of legacy the band had kind of painted out. And it definitely they're one of those groups that a lot of people forget about, they think they're only The Boys Are Back in Town, which, I mean, when you make a song as mega hit as that, it's almost like Mr. Blue Sky for ELO. Everyone's like, oh, ELO is Mr. Blue Sky. And that's it. And case closed. And you're like, no, wait. They have all these other songs. And they're like, Mr. Blue Sky is it. You know what I mean? It's just like, you can't, sometimes you live in the shadow of your own success, and unfortunately that a lot of people say the catchphrase again, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like when you make something so good, it tends, everything else has to live up to it, or it just doesn't get the exposure, it doesn't get the advertisement that it needs, because the world shifts into a certain area. So I think that's what happened with this album, is like those two songs were such mega hits, and a lot of people just kind of like maybe didn't really listen to the whole album. They may have just like heard it on the song, and it became like a a major drawing point for them to go see them in concert or something like that. But the whole album as a whole, it was one of their only, if not few, albums that actually got a gold certified, or whatever. Like, a lot of the other albums were overlooked, and kind of the attention was there we are, gold. Canada, UK, United States, so yeah, I mean, love it. It's a staple to the childhood growing up. So
to the childhood growing up.
And Mike, I'm kind of shocked that you thought I wouldn't like the vocals on this one, because for me, attitude is such a big part of why I love so many artists. Like let's look at like Motley Crue, for example. Those early Motley Crue albums,
right?
Just that pure rock star attitude, unmatched from anything that we've seen since then.
Yeah.
I struggle to think of many bands that maintain any kind of attitude in the rock genre these days. I mean, you got Beartooth. Beartooth's pretty close.
Right.
Early Slipknot, and still Slipknot, but they're not really modern anymore.
Yeah. Right.
Things like that. Ramones, The Clash. Like, I love that. Even Green Day, like, they have that, like, we won't call them punk, but they have like that punk attitude to them. I love that in music. I feel like it's sorely missing. So it's very refreshing to, even though this album is decades and decades old.
Yeah, right.
It's still so refreshing to hear something that has that. Because it's like, I knew like The Boys Are Back in Town, like Jailbreak. It's like, those songs have attitude, but like, can they match that with the rest of the record? And they do a very good job of that. Like, it's ever present, even in like the slower songs. It's still there. Like, they carry it with such like a swagger to it.
Yeah,
it just sounds cool.
Yeah, and what's kind of cool is also the use of instrumentation of many different things. You hear some saxophones on here. You hear a harmonica in the Cowboy song. You hear a lot of cool sounding just production. The way the guitar, the clean kind of undistorted kind of guitar, like an Angel from the Coast, kind of comes in, and then running back, you have that like sound of that guitar. Like, the guitar takes on many different sounds, and just, it has that just kind of cool, it has an up and down feel to it, and I love an up and down album. So you have Jailbreak high, Angels from the Coast is kind of a mid, and then Running Back is like, those are kind of like kind of coming down, like the more quiet songs, and then like kind of like picks up again, and then Fighter Falls like is a chill song, and then Cowboy song is just a freaking journey. It's just an absolute journey. And Emerald is, I feel, I didn't agree with this. Emerald is I thought that was a very cool way to end the album, in the sense it was just like, it has that galloping feel to it, almost like the early Iron Maiden kind of just kind of like you're on a horse, kind of almost, like chugging along, and then it's got that wicked solo at the end, and like I said, it has that beautiful harmonized part in it. So it's got a very, like, takes you on a journey. It has that comic book feel to it, like they're in the bar and there's a fight breaking out, and now they're it's just kind of like lots of different kind of cool little the warriors are dealing with the back alley kind of drug guys. It definitely paints a picture for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's when we first came with the idea to do this, I'm sure all of us were like, all right, how are we going to do this? And sure enough, Mike found an album that really won all of us over. There's no villain tonight.
Because damn it.
I know. He's like, oh, this album was so bad.
Boo.
Boo. You're sheesh. So many childhoods just collapsing across the country. So aside from going to our rating, any other comments for the track listing and stuff like that, or no? All right.
No.
So time to go to the rating, I guess. Yeah. All right. Do you want me to go first, or do you want the K-Man to go first? You pick, Mike.
I say J Tizzle McNizzle. Let's hear it, man.
All right.
You did the first beginning.
This might surprise you, but it was terrible. No, of course not. No. The farthest thing from that, truthfully. When you think of the 70s, you think of a lot of as far as music goes, you think of rock and you think of disco. At least I do. But this was a happy, I shouldn't say, well, I'm trying to word this carefully. Forgive me. Like, this was a surprise album that I never would have listened to had Mike not recommended it to me. So, and going into it, I was like, all right, whatever. And coming out of it, I was like, well, damn, he knows how to pick out an album. All right, let's see what he can do. No, but after that, I was like, all right, my rating is easily, without a question of a doubt, a 4.25 out of 5.
Cool.
I'm feeling that good. You know what? Just because I'm feeling that good about this album, and I might legitimately might listen to all Thin Lizzy tomorrow. We're gonna go 4.5 out of 5. Just
damn! He went over and spiked the ball down.
We're biting the balls. That sounded really gay. I'm sorry, everyone. But anyways, all right, we're going off the rails already. But listen, seriously, a 4.5 out of 5 for the J-Man. Q-Man.
Woo! K-Man's up.
You know, JT, I really thought you were going to be the villain there for a minute. And then you went and upped your score. Funny enough, I guess we're tied for the villain because I also gave it a 4.5.
There we go.
This is a band that really criminally underrated, doesn't get talked about enough for their contribution to music, especially those early days of, the rock scene in the late 70s. Easy 4.5. Easily.
Nice.
Without the criticisms I gave earlier, could have been even higher. To me, ending an album on fighting with swords and stuff, not for me. But if that's the one blemish we got here, then I'll take it. Easy 4.5.
I mean, my damn rating, 5 all day. And it's kind of just off topic, but it's kind of interesting. Phil and he was Irish, but he was also like black, which is kind of you don't see in this kind of scene. And he brought some,
especially back then.
Yeah, he brought some cool elements. Almost like his guitar writing ability, almost a Jimi Hendrix kind of feel at time with some of those kind of screaming guitar solos. And he just surrounded himself. There's another guitarist, I don't know his name, unprepared, but he also played for Thin Lizzy. He also went off on his own and did his own solo project, filled in for them as a guitarist, and he's like a virtuoso guitarist as well. There's a lot of talent coming out of that area. But this was another good album by them is Bad Reputation. But this is one of those albums that stands out as like and apparently it turns 40 according to this graphic here we're looking at. I didn't even think about that. Basically, this one stands out amongst their collection as the shining star of cramming into one album so many masterful songs that have so many different feelings to them. which a lot of bands suffer to do. Like sometimes like one song has the same feeling as the next and has the next feeling. And, you know, they fail to like give you a sad and a happy song or a fast and a slow song. Sometimes they just bulldoze you with, you know, blazing speed. And this album is paced to allow you to kind of take a breather from some of the guitar solos or whatever. It just paces itself very well. So yeah, I'm glad to hear you guys received it so well. And yeah, cool.
Like I gotta correct you there for a minute. That was a old article. The album is turning 47 this year.
Holy crap.
Make you feel even older.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sorry, it was 2016 it turned 40.
Oof. Wow. So we're heading up on the 50. You know,
we're closer to 50 than 40.
Holy crap. It's like those memes you see on the internet where it's like someone thinks, oh, like this Nintendo game came out like 20, 30 years ago. It's like, no, more like, you know, yeah, like way longer ago.
The fact that the 90s was 30 years ago is ridiculous. So we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. So yeah. we don't talk about it. No.
We definitely don't here.
Yeah, I mean, and we really don't. If you guys are looking for Disney material, please look elsewhere.
Guys, we just let it go already. God,
Bruno, that was Sacha Baron Cohen's worst movie.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Coming soon to Career Retrospectives, a Disney song rant from all of us.
Yes. Hats off to that one.
JT, let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
Damn right, I will let it go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to build a snowman? What? No, I'm just kidding.
The snowman.
What?
You want to build a discography?
You jerk!
Yes.
I swear. Oh my god. We better end this stream now before something bad happens on camera. Oh god. All right. Well, that was part one of our albums. We just I give up. I got Frozen stuck in my head now. Forgive me, guys. I don't know why I do. I just do. I have to let it go, apparently.
Let it go.
But no, we want to thank you all for watching and listening. However you enjoyed us tonight. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button, and also don't forget to comment, and subscribe, and follow us on podcast format as well. I want to thank the two gentlemen for doing this podcast with me. Look for part 2 and 3 next week. Thanks, guys, for joining as always.
Woo! Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're having way too much
See you
fun.
next time for our next album, which is whose?
Oh, it's Kyle's, right?
On your mind?
Yeah, we can do yours.
Click Kyle's in the comments below.
Love.
That's it. Kyle's in the comments below.
Yes. Don't worry. He's gonna let me know.
I'll personally respond to every comment. Don't worry.
That's right.
He's first to delete every single one of your comments. What's the next stream? No, but bottom line, guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us. And so stay safe.